The universe follows an organized and predictable pattern, governed by fundamental laws of physics and mathematics. From the most distant galaxies to the tiniest particles, these laws rule their functioning. Similarly, our minds are also subject to laws, such as the well-known law of attraction, the law of cause and effect, the law of assumption, and the quantum law. Today, I want to explore with you a particular law that, if understood and mastered, can generate significant positive impacts in your life, the law of prosperity's vacuum. Living in harmony with this law has the potential to transform your life quickly and substantially. But what does this law really imply? How does it affect your life? What changes could you experience if you apply it starting today? Two experts delving into this law are the eloquent speaker Bob Proctor and the brilliant chiropractor Dr. Joe Dispenza. Before delving into the topic, we'll share a fascinating story about Bob Proctor and his Aunt Mark, providing you with context and perspective on this powerful law. Does that sound interesting to you? Share this video with your friends and let us know at the end if it makes sense to you. Mar wasn't just Bob's aunt, rather, she was a close figure, almost a sister. Mar and her husband Don faced financial difficulties and were considered poor by conventional standards. Don worked as a windmill builder on the other side of town, and the lack of resources forced them to rely on public transportation. Don devoted long extra hours daily to ensure they had what they needed to survive. During a visit close to Christmas, Bob witnessed Don and Mar's efforts to obtain credit cards at department stores to buy gifts for their children. Amid their struggle, Don expressed optimism, saying, "Next year will be different." It was then that Bob, with straightforward honesty, replied, "You know, Don, next year will be exactly the same as this one. Every year you say it will be different, but it never is because you never change." Determined to make a difference, Bob invited Mar and Don to one of his seminars. Although the 8-week seminar posed a financial challenge for them, Bob understood that it was crucial for them to invest in their own change. Thus, despite their limited resources, he convinced them that the money invested in the seminar would be worthwhile on the path to real transformation. Mar wasn't just Bob's aunt, rather, she was a close figure, almost a sister. Mar and her husband Don faced financial difficulties and were considered poor by conventional standards. Don worked as a windmill builder on the other side of town, and the lack of resources forced them to rely on public transportation. Don devoted long extra hours daily to ensure they had what they needed to survive. During a visit close to Christmas, Bob witnessed Don and Mar's efforts to obtain credit cards at department stores to buy gifts for their children. Amid their struggle, Don expressed optimism, saying, "Next year will be different." It was then that Bob, with straightforward honesty, replied, "You know, Don, next year will be exactly the same as this one. Every year you say it will be different, but it never is because you never change." Determined to make a difference, Bob invited Mar and Don to one of his seminars. Although the 8-week seminar posed a financial challenge for them, Bob understood that it was crucial for them to invest in their own change. Thus, despite their limited resources, he convinced them that the money invested in the seminar would be worthwhile on the path to real transformation. Initially, Mark and Don struggled to fully grasp the content of the early days of Bob's seminar. However, everything changed when Bob addressed the topic of goals. Standing in front of the room, challenging, he asked, "What is it that you really want?" At that moment, Mar realized that so much time had passed without reflecting on her desires that it initially proved difficult for her to identify them. However, as she continued to contemplate, things began to emerge in her mind. On one occasion, while Bob and Mar shared coffee in her living room, she asked him to move to the kitchen. Bob, unconcerned, agreed, and curious, he asked Mar why she preferred the kitchen over the living room. Mar confessed, "I hate sitting in that room. I hate the curtains hanging around the window of the room across." Don't you hate those ominous curtains? Bob's response was revealing. You only attract things you are in harmony with. If you truly didn't like them, you'd get rid of them. When Bob Proctor explained that he didn't take down the curtains because he had nothing else to put there, Marge told him she would get rid of them if she had something to replace them. Bob's response was enlightening. Even if you had something to put there, you couldn't because you already have something there. That's when he introduced the law of prosperity's vacuum. Upon concluding his explanation, Mar, understanding the essence of the law, stood up and began taking down the curtains. Don, surprised, asked her what she was doing, and she declared, "I'm getting rid of these curtains." It wasn't an instant change, but over time, Marge was able to acquire curtains that she truly loved. She then revamped the furniture in the living room and other elements of the house with things that inspired her. Propelled by their growing understanding of the law of prosperity's vacuum, Mar and Don embarked on their own business. As a result, their entire family began to enjoy the good things in life that were previously beyond their reach. Sometime later, Bob asked Marge what the most important lesson she learned from him was, and she replied, "The law of the vacuum was the greatest. Everything in my life changed when I started to understand it." In simple terms, the law of prosperity's vacuum posits that nature abhors a vacuum. To more directly understand how it works, take a few minutes and do this exercise. Look around you and focus on an object within your sight at the moment. Let's say you're looking at a lamp. As you do, you realize that you can't place anything where the lamp is unless you move it to make space for something else. It's simple, isn't it? This exercise illustrates how nature abhors a vacuum. We find that we want positive things to come into our lives, but often we don't create the necessary space for them. Mar, understanding this principle, began getting rid of things she didn't like and making room for what she truly desired. And what about you? Are you living in harmony with the law of prosperity's vacuum? If there are things in your life that you don't like or don't want, get rid of them, sell them, give them away, or toss them. When you create space for the good you desire, that's when the things you long for can start to come in. This law is one of the most valuable lessons you can learn. Many people don't make room for the positive things they desire, and without space, it's challenging for those things to arrive. Now, why does this work? Because we are dealing with a universal law, not a human invention. Universal laws cannot be changed by humans. Start making space for your desires today, and I promise you that next year will be absolutely different. Dr. Joe Dispenza provides a scientific explanation for this possibility. If we maintain the same thoughts and feelings, we will continue to create the same reality as always. If we logically accept this paradigm, we will understand that to change our personal reality, we must alter our daily routine of thoughts and emotions. If we persist in thinking and feeling the same way every day, we will repeat the same circumstances in our life, generating the same habitual emotions. This cycle will condition us to keep thinking according to those emotions. By consistently focusing on our problems, consciously or unconsciously, we simply create more similar difficulties. Our problems may seem so real because our own thoughts have brought them into existence. The key lies in learning to create space in our minds, to think and feel beyond our current and past circumstances. Many people focus their attention on three elements: their environment, their body, and time. To attract better things into our lives, we must stop exclusively identifying ourselves with our current environment. We need to think beyond our circumstances and transcend the feelings we have been harboring in our bodies. The key is to live on a new timeline, freeing ourselves from the self-imposed limitations of our current mental and emotional routine. Here lies the key to continuous improvement. If you want to change, keep in mind an idealized self, a model to emulate that is different and better than the current self that exists in your environment, body, and time. All great figures in history understood this dynamic. In our waking state, we routinely interact with stimuli from the world that activate various brain circuits due to almost automatic responses. This activation leads us to think and react according to our environment. As the environment generates thoughts, our usual neural networks activate past experiences stored in the brain, causing us to automatically think in the same old way. The connection is clear: your thoughts determine your reality. If you maintain the same thoughts, which are a product and reflection of your environment, you will continue to create the same reality day after day. Your thoughts and feelings align with your external life because it is that external reality, with its problems, conditions, and circumstances, that influences how you think and feel in your inner reality every day. While interacting with the same people and facing the same situations, this influence persists. For example, in your romantic relationship and with your children, you are likely to repeat the same routines: commuting to work, carrying out daily tasks, engaging in regular physical activity, and frequenting the same places, such as your favorite coffee shop, the usual supermarket, and your workplace. You even observe the same objects, like your car, your home, and your toothbrush. The familiar memories associated with your known environment urge you to reproduce the same experiences. It could be said that it is the environment that exerts control over the mind. According to the neuroscientific definition of the mind as the brain in action, we repeat the same level of mind by reminding ourselves of who we believe we are in relation to the external world. Your identity is defined by how you identify with all the elements of your external world. By viewing reality with a mind equal to it, you collapse the infinite possibilities of the quantum field into events that reflect the mind you use to experience your life, creating more of the same. Attract the life you desire. You must not only create space in your environment but also in your mind and behaviors. If you cannot change your environment, start using your imagination to visualize within yourself the events, circumstances, people, or things you want to attract, as if they were already happening. This will not only help you create new neural connections and eliminate old patterns, but also tune you into a new frequency that will make what you seek also seek you. We urge you to put this lesson into practice. Don't underestimate it or keep it to yourself. Share it with others on your WhatsApp or Facebook. Help us inspire more lives. We wish you much success and blessings. Thank you for following us, and until next time.